It's fantasy football draft season. We're looking for the values in the middle to late rounds of our drafts. We're looking at those running backs. We need running backs. They're hard to get. They get injured often. We're fighting for them off the waiver wire. One running back in the middle rounds that a lot of us are shooting for is Blake Corum, because there's a lot of volume in this offense. The starter's Kyren Williams. He gets a lot of touches. There's a lot of upside due to that if something happens to Kyren Williams. We're going to do a deep dive on Blake Corum today to see whether or not you need him for fantasy football. You need to click that subscribe though right now. You need to click that button. Tap with the finger on the phone. Click with the mouse on the computer. We're doing deep dives every day. 2, 3, 4 players. We're ramping up, getting you ready for your drafts. We're covering player lists every day, trying to find those upside players, going over the advanced metrics. Watch those on a la carte. In season, waiver wire every day. Every day, even when waiver wire's passed. You still need those videos because of the deeper guys on the waiver wire, the rookies, and everything else. Helping you set your lineups, must-start players. It's all here on the daily. The daily. There's no days off here, even in the off season. But Kyren Williams, though, got way too many touches last year. And they mentioned that when he was out week 7 to 11 for injury. And they were playing around with those scab running backs. And they're saying, hey, we might have to dial this back a little bit to keep him healthy, keep him going. And then when he came back, those scab running backs weren't getting it done. And the touches ramped back up. These are opportunities. Targets, rushing attempts. He got 34 opportunities. Week 15 against Washington. He's been in the 20s a lot. And they've mentioned last year, we covered it in season because we were covering the rushing attempts for the backups here. And they were talking about scaling him back. So what they did, they drafted a running back. And looking at Kyren Williams, he was getting a lot of carries. A lot of carries up the gut, a lot of workload, 19 rushing attempts per game. That is a lot for a running back in the NFL. Usually when we're looking at running backs, day in and day out, for fantasy projections, 15's good. 15's good. But we're also looking at his usage in the passing game. He's also used a lot in pass protection because he's damn good at that. That's why Kyren Williams is so good. So they're looking to scale him back a bit with Blake Corum. Blake Corum, though, coming out of high school, was highly recruited. Not just Michigan, Ohio State, LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, USC. So all over the country, big-time programs was looking at him. Ranked 19th in the class among running backs. Recruiting sites get it wrong a lot. The thing you want to look at is the amount of offers. He had 28. That's a lot for somebody that low in the rankings. Or a 4-star running back. And then the type of schools. Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Georgia, LSU, and a lot of others. A lot of other Power 5 schools. I just rattled those off the top of my head. He was highly recruited because he is a stout runner, good vision, nice cutback, and he's very dependable. We got to Michigan. It took us some time ramping up. We had the Zach Charbonnet experiment early on and all that stuff. But 2022 was when he started to cut his teeth. One of the most productive running backs in college football. He hurt his knee. That ended. And then we got to 2023, and we had to have a ramp-up period. 2023 would have been more hype. Actually, in 2023, he would have been in the NFL. He would have been in the NFL. But that draft class was super stacked at running back. He was coming out of a knee injury that was very devastating. Coming back to Michigan for 2023 was actually the right choice. He would have found the draft. A lot of those running backs in that draft fell farther than they should have because of the talent level. And now we come back in 2023, still get 1,200 yards in 15 games, 4.8 yards per carry. But remember, the start of 2023, there was a ramp-up portion of that. Coming back from that injury, you want to look at more 2022. That's when he's healthy, feeling good to go. That's when Blake Corum was Blake Corum, but we are very productive. Look at the game log down there. Those are his best games. Those are all his games of 80 yards or more on the ground. That's 23 of them. Big moments against top-tier Power 5 schools. Ohio State multiple times. Alabama, if you remember the playoff game. Penn State. Good defenses, bad defenses. He just gets it done. He is stout. Going back to 2022 in season. So you can get a better look at that. One of the better running backs in the country. One of the most efficient running backs in the country. Very explosive, making guys miss in the open field. Those numbers only ramped up from there because that was in November. And then looking at what he did over the course of his career. In the passing game, he can get you yards after the catch, but he can also force missed tackles, 73 of them in 2022. One of the best in college football, 3.35 yards after contact per attempt, 3.84 in 2021, 304 on his career. Very good, and he's got a good mix of snaps and zone and gap. So he is very diverse. He is very sound. He is one of the most NFL-ready running backs in this year's class. And you look at him in pass protection, it's stout when you watch the tape. However, not many opportunities due to the Michigan offense. I want to call that out. But from what we know, from what we see, he's very stout at all phases because he's a good running back. He had good numbers at the combine, 4.5 40-yard dash. We were not expecting him to blaze the track in Indy, but still good size, just athleticism at 5'8", 205 pounds. He's still a little bit faster than Kyren Williams. A lot of people want to point that out, but he's a good grinder between the tackles, but can also pop it to the outside, catch balls out of the backfield. He's good at all phases. But looking at the run game here for the Rams, 12 games played by Kyren Williams, 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns, 68% of the rushing attempts. Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson, the rest of the running backs on the roster were not getting it done. They were sucking. They weren't doing the job there, and they needed to bring somebody in because once Kyren Williams came back, they were like, hey, we just got to keep feeding him. We just got to keep feeding him. We got to keep giving him the rock. We got to keep rolling with him, and we'll get somebody in the offseason. And they did that with Blake Corum. Blake Corum's going to scale it back maybe a minimal amount. However, if something happens to Kyren Williams, this workload ain't going to the scab running backs. Blake Corum's going to get his opportunity. He's going to get his opportunity in the passing game. He's going to get his opportunity in the run game. That is what we're looking at here. This team runs it a good bit. They're not a slow-paced team either. 27 seconds between plays. They run a fair amount of plays. Not the fastest, not the most plays ran per game, but it's still up there. There's still a lot of good volume in this offense. Kyren Williams is indicative of that, and Blake Corum's in a good spot. He's a lunch pail running back just like Kyren Williams. That's what they wanted. They wanted a running back that's back there that will do the job. Pass protection, catch the ball in the backfield, run it between the tackles. It's got some bursts, got some quicks, got good vision. That's what these two running backs do. I expect something kind of similar if Blake Corum's out there. I really do. Forgetting 2022 Blake Corum, which I imagine we are. We're further removed from that injury. You're going to see something similar to Kyren Williams if he ever gets the opportunity. And you're looking at ADP, and people are saying the same thing in drafts. They're taking that shot on him as a high-end handcuff because this offense is juicy for the running back position if something happens. On top of that, there's a small chance he has standalone value. I think Kyren Williams will get some opportunity. Will look like Kyren Williams, maybe scaled back, maybe 3 to 5%, so you're barely going to notice it. But Blake Corum, if something happens to Kyren Williams, which something has happened to Kyren Williams the last 2 seasons, is going to be a damn good running back in fantasy football. He's NFL ready. He's good to go. And the market is saying that. I'm not saying that. The market, thousands upon thousands of people are saying that right now when mixed up with the other running backs here. Even some guys getting opportunities, touches, some guys who've done it before, they're rocking with Blake Corum. You're looking at this range, you're looking at upside wide receivers, you're looking at QB2s, you're looking at tight end 2s, or maybe some dart throw tight ends here that are coming back from injuries like TJ Hawkinson. The thing about this is a gamble range. If you want to gamble on a handcuff running back in double-digit rounds, Blake Corum is at a very good spot to do so, and a lot of the starting running backs are done. We're tearing off right now. We're starting to move into backup running back range anyways. He's a high-end backup running back. The market's saying that. He might be a little bit cheaper in your home league, but I doubt it because running backs get funneled up in home leagues. Just be on the lookout. If you got the ick at wide receiver, or if wide receivers tiered off too much for you, running backs starting to tear off, that's when you look at Blake Corum. It's probably going to be double-digit rounds, though, probably pushing 10 to 11, 9 at the earliest, but you don't need him because you want to chase more upside at wide receiver. You need more upside for the now. You want to play with some other running backs there. You want to do some other things other than Blake Corum. You want something more consistent. You want someone that can start weeks 1, 2, and 3. You want to know about it. But you want them because you want that upside. There's also upside here because if Kyren Williams goes down, there's upside as an RB1. He's got it. And it's pretty much locked in, baked in. He's going to be getting those touches. And he's also got the talent. He's got the situation to do so. But the risk is you're going to have to wait for it. And you're not going to know when it's going to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.